So here we go with the 2024 Mode Pro from North Foils. Quite a lot of difference, as you can probably see already from the previous Mode. The Pro line is a new line, new thing from North this year. Generally, this is for different materials, different construction methodology. You're going to see that Pro label not just across the wings, but across various surfboards on the kite side. Various products through the range is going to have that Pro label attached to it. Generally speaking, it's premium materials, it's the best of the best. What does that mean for the Mode Pro? The most exciting and the most significant thing on this is the NWeave 45. We'll show you a little close-up of the material here. Basically, it's one of the first materials on the market whereby you've got fibers running 0-90, which would be like a traditional Dacron material, but it's also been laminated with a plus-minus 45. This is going to give it stiffness in all axis, basically. So the frame of this is very, very, very stiff. As a result of that, they've also had to tweak the canopy an awful lot, and we've got a new, they're calling it the Matrix HTRS, so that's the high tenacity materials. And you can see it's got a very complicated panel layout. That's to ensure that the canopy is compatible with the very, very stiff airframe. That NWeave 45 is on both the leading edge and on the strut. The high-end stuff doesn't stop there, because yes, we've got hard handles on the Mode Pro. These are carbon handles. Even though they're relatively long, and I'll come on to that in a minute, we've had a handle of the handle. We've had the handles to feel not attached to the wing, and they are super, super lightweight. Moving on to those handles, we've got quite a long handle, both front and rear. This gives you an awful lot of versatility, to be honest. The Mode Pro is very balanced. The power through the front and rear hand is nicely balanced. You're not fatiguing on the front, you're not fatiguing on the rear, but there is some adjustment available should you want to tweak that. One, to your own preference. Secondly, these handles are long enough in such a way that if you want to hold that front handle whilst riding just by the front handle at the bottom of it there, look, you can. And the same goes for that back one. It's in a position where you can hold it in your back hand and it doesn't pitch away from you too quickly. So for those adjustments when you're swapping from one hand to the other, those slightly larger handles are quite beneficial for that. In terms of how this thing feels on the water, primarily been using it in flat water. There was a little bit of rolling swell out the back, and we tried to have a go out there with a nice high aspect wing the other day to get it trailing a little bit, but we haven't taken it in any waves yet. But in the flat water, this is a very, very, very nice performance free ride wing. The combination of the stiff airframe and the hard carbon handles means that any jibes, any maneuvers, you've got an awful lot of control over the wing, even if you're controlling it with one hand. I found myself, without really thinking about it, I'd come round from a jibe, I'd end up wanting to swap the grip of my wrist round during the jibe, and I found myself just letting go of the wing, adjusting my grip and grabbing it again with the same hand, knowing exactly where it is, what it's going to do, and that's down to the control that you've got because of the stiff frame, because of the handles. Power delivery is smooth. You have a lot of power, both stationary by just trimming the back hand in. You also develop an awful lot of power through pumping. In combination with the Seek boards this year, which we'll come on to in another review, you're going to be surprised either how early you can get going with this thing or how small gear you can use with what you would think be an appropriate wing for those wind conditions. I found myself just going smaller and smaller on the foils, smaller and smaller on the boards this past week, and just finding that the Mode Pro had plenty of power to deal with that. You can see, even though we're in slightly offshore conditions here, holding it on that front handle, it does have a generous amount of dihedral, so it is fairly stable on that front handle. All in all, I think this is going to be a very, very popular wing this year. The Mode Pro, it looks smart, we've got high-end materials, the design is good. You know, it's a refinement of the previous Mode that was very, very popular. If you haven't already checked this out, see if you can go find a local retailer, have a go on it. And if you want a bit more detailed review, when we've actually had a chance to try this in more of a variety of conditions, head over to Tonic Mag, read our review in there. We'll sure be getting our hands on this post this trip and taking it out a little bit more.